Greetings, dear viewers, ladies and gentlemen. This is Addis News Hour with the news. I'm Shifarao Lako. Please stay with us. Now, Ethiopia has marked its 127th anniversary of the victory of Adwa with assortments themed unity, bravery, and perseverance. President Sahle-Work Zewde said the victory is a great historical phenomenon that laid the foundation for the inception of Pan-Africanism and establishment of the Organization of African Union. Military officers also underscored the need to make use of the rippling effects of the victory of Adwa. Daniel Kasson reports.
The major event of the Victory of Adwa celebration has brought together Ethiopians from all walks of life to pay due respect for their ancestors' devotion for Ethiopia's dignity and sovereignty. The Adwa victory inspired all the blacks and other peoples of the world who were under the yoke of colonialism to fight for their freedom and independence.
The black people across the world has taken the victory of Adwa as a benchmark in order to revive, in order to wage their struggle against oppressors and colonizers. Here at Meskel Square, Adwa victory is being colorfully celebrated.
Addressing the gathering, President Sahle-Work Zewde said the victory of Adwa has been achieved through immediate response of Ethiopians for the call made by Emperor Menes II to safeguard the sovereignty of the nation and respect sacrifices paid by the forefathers and foremothers who were under the leadership of the emperor.
የአድዋን ድል በማክበር በማድነቅ
I call on all Ethiopians to preserve the spirit of the victory of Adwa and nurture culture of dialogue to accelerate the nation-building process and pass on unfilled and prosperous Ethiopian for the generation to come. I wish the Almighty God to bless our nation and the country to have decent life which transcends from generation to generation.
Brigadier General Bulsi Tadesse, head of the Army War College, said that the National Defense Force has taken over the mandate of the annual commemoration of the Adwa victory based on government's historic decision so as to honor the day at national level.
Because the Defense Force is one of the big force which all coordinates and this capacities all things to be celebrated in a good way. Not only that, during Adwa, our military force, our commanders, our military in the community is organized by our military forces. So this kind of organizing by defense force is given for a symbolic, for shaping the community, for shaping the generation. So this victory of Adwa is very important for a defense force to be for driving force as a symbolic for an Ethiopian in the EUs. So this is a very important for the defense force to be celebrated, and that is a responsibility.
Dean of the Association of Military Attaches based in Addis Ababa, for his part indicated, it's remarkable to take part in the Victory of Adwa celebration, which most Africans take it as own victory.
Normally, we say that fighting for freedom is for few people. Few people engage in fight for freedom, but the independence is for all. So the resistance of Ethiopia had impact in what is the African free continent today. So starting from here, you expressed the spirit of bravery and the desire of freedom, and this same spirit affected all helped other African countries to continue their struggle for freedom. So we say from here that came, maybe the base for the freedom of the continent were laid.
It's also announced that activities underway to observe the Adwa victory at continental level with participation of African brothers and sisters in the years to come.
Now, Ethiopians have vibrantly celebrated the 127th victory of Adwa at the Emperor Menelik Square at the central part of Addis Ababa. President Sahlawork Zewde and President of the Ancient Ethiopian Patriots Association, Lejdanuel Joti Mesfin, have placed flower wreaths in front of a statue of Emperor Menelik in commemoration of the Grand Victory Day. They also attended the celebration at Meskel Square yesterday. Thousands of residents of Addis Ababa, patriots, public representatives, and invited guests also participated in the historic event that took place at Emperor Menelik Square, Meskel Square, and Adwa Bridge in the capital yesterday. The major commemorative event has been held at the Meskel Square with government officials, members of the diplomatic community, members of the National Defense Forces, and police, as well as thousands of residents. Now, still staying on the historic victory of Adwa, the Adwa victory is an emblem of Africa's freedom as a whole. Adwa is a battle for freedom and equity of all black Africans. This is according to Ahmed Hassan Umar, a seasoned historian. In an interview with ETV, Ahmed pointed out that Adwa goes down in history as the first battle that stands in front of the colonizer and the systematic injustice from colonization, theft, and looting of wealth. Ahmed said the immediate cause of the war was Italy's failure to trick Menelik's Ethiopia into accepting a protectorate via the controversial Article 17 of the Treaty of Wuchale, signed on May the 2nd, 1889. Have a listen to this.
And then the 70s was very, very ambiguous. Well calculated by the Italian side, misunderstood by the Ethiopian side, and it put the Ethiopian side at the end of the day in dilemma, in confusion, and finally to the level of abrogating it even years after.
The victory of Adwa had a great impact in unifying the ranks of the Ethiopians, as everyone in Ethiopia rose up and everyone participated in this battle without exception, men and women of various nationalities. So the battle became a symbol of Africa's freedom in general and Ethiopia's freedom in particular.
In such, it was a very strategic move, really charismatically filled by wisdom and by the collaboration of listening to each other. Do this, Alula did. Do this, after Giorgis did. Do this, Mangasha did. Do this, Taklaimanot did. The Wallo High Point, Ras Mikael, finally Nugus Mikael did. Who not? Others to the lower at the same time. Dajjalmach Bashaboyi, one of the shining star, did. Or one not Fitorari Gabayo did. You see, the Balcha did. Did, yes, but listening to each other, deciding as per your responsibility. Cannon commanders, heavy gun commanders, Balcha Gabayo, they know how to dominate the terrain. And Abate Boyalo, who finally sent his bullet into the mouth of the Italian artillery. You see, this kind of Ethiopian marksmen targeting the expected target decided the Battle of Adwa.
Stressing on the crucial role of the victory at the continental level to mobilize the youth and gain economic victory, the historian emphasized on the fact that it will be used as a catalyst for other countries' inclusive growth.
Lesson can be drawn from different perspectives. Perspective one, the men of Adwa were those highly integrated their moral ethics, their religious ethics, their national pride, and everything. Ethiopians were one. Let us say by then they were in million, okay? But Ethiopians for Adwa of the time were one. The decree Menelik made was not for single. You Ethiopians, follow me. As a leader, he ordered. They did. But we have seen women, we have seen young of 17 years, 25 years. Everybody. Therefore, the participation was touching all social spectrum, all social pyramid. The category of the powerful, the weak, the rich, the poor cannot and could not work in those days.
The song is called Adwa. Adwa is the name of a battlefield in Ethiopia where Ethiopians withstood European colonial conquest for the first time in Africa against Mussolini, not those old good Italians. Man is precious, precious to be man. Man has died to save man, respecting man. The calling of sacrifice of love and honor, with honor, one dies for the other. My freedom today paid in much blood and bone. Let Adwa speak, let my country speak, how I stand before you today, in pride and honor, in happiness and love. My praise to be to them, to the martyrs of Adwa, who paid their lives for my freedom. Adwa is a victory of all black people, a victory that inspired a lot of freedom fighters.
Welcome back. You're still watching Addis News Hour. Now, historians say the landslide victory of Adwa is not only to galvanize Ethiopians, but also the black people across the globe for freedom. They also underscore that the victory, beyond defeating Italy, smashed the Berlin Conference constitution and policies that were supposed to scramble Africa further. Goshu Baliso has more on that.
A decade before the Battle of Adwa, European powers had decided the fate of Ethiopia. At the Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885, 14 European countries divided Africa among themselves. However, the black boxes from all walks of life fought and victorious the enemy who came to humiliate Ethiopia. Talking to ETV, a historian said the landslide Adwa victory has not only galvanized Ethiopians, but also black people across the globe for freedom.
Adwa was historic. What made it historic? It was historic because it's not just simply the Ethiopians defeating the Italians, but it was about African folks, black folks defeating white folks, defeating Europeans, because Europeans have already assumed that they are superior. That would galvanize not just simply Ethiopians, it galvanizes all people, or everybody who is under colonialism. Okay? Anybody who's oppressed or exploited by Europeans would kind of see that not only a victory for Ethiopians, but a victory for all oppressed people. So that's what gives it a foundation for Pan-Africanism. It becomes a real foundation for Pan-Africanism. And as a foundation, it is a kind of reference point that you will always have.
Researcher on Africa and Middle East affairs Hassan Kasisai said the victory is beyond defeating Italy. It rather smashed the Berlin Conference constitution and policies that were supposed to scrambling Africa further.
We defeat Italians, but the Adwa victory is more than defeat Italians. It is defeating and crushed the Berlin Conference constitution and many policies, because that's the base. African scramble is started from Berlin Conference, and the Ethiopians gave to Italians. So the Italians came to invade Ethiopia, so based on Berlin Conference. So we demolish the Berlin Conference constitution.
Historian Ayele Bekri, for his part, expounded that Adwa is a turning point in human history to show progress and spirit of capability.
Yes, it was a turning point. It was a turning point in a sense that we've showed the way we should go, the way we should make progress, the way we build our economy, the way we build our politics, the way we strengthen our society. All that, the model is Adwa. You see, Adwa becomes a model.
The researcher highlighted that Ethiopians achieved the monumental victory with wise leadership and unity.
Adwa victory is a great achievement for all this community, and the main group is Ethiopians, especially the leader, the command of Emperor Minilik and Queen Taitu, and they are the major part of the Adwa victory, and also their generals as well.
Wow.
And the Adwa victory is still shining with all the black community.
Ethiopia is to mark the 127th anniversary of Adwa victory on March 2 with various assortments.
Now moving on, Ambassador Shetit Laun at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Dr. Jonas Adaye at the Addis Ababa University say Ethiopians should celebrate Adwa's victory in a colorful manner to demonstrate true patriotism to the rest of the world as an emblem of international freedom and defiance against colonialism. They also call upon the youth across the nation to cherish the lofty goals of the patriots and the values for which they had made sacrifices. Kasaun Chane reports.
Ethiopia has completed all the necessary preparations to commemorate the victory of Adwa, during which hundreds of thousands of Ethiopians, regardless of their differences, stood as one and gave their lives to protect the nation's sovereignty. Ethiopians are honoring the brave forefathers and foremothers who made them live today in peace, freedom and dignity. March 1896 will go down in history as the month when the unthinkable occurred, the unexpected happened. More should have been written or said about Adwa's victory in history than has actually been done. The young researchers must delve deeply into the many components of this significant accomplishment. BBC English approached to high-ranking government officials who stated that there are so many stories to be told about all of the protagonists of this massive Adwa victory that this endeavor requires every Ethiopian dig into it and record it.
The spirit of Adwa is very deep. It is a symbolism and the spirit of independence, equality of people of all colors, all nations, all corners of the world. That thought has never been in the thinking of many before the victory of Adwa.
Adwa is a paradigm shift in the world history where the black commanding over the white supremacy, at the same time making history and heralding that the black too have a mind, have muscle, have strategies. They can also determine, map, and at the same time create their own future. So that being the case, because this is a uniting factor of all black race together, the government, the public, the media must also bring people together on a common cause. And that common cause is, to be honest, a united Ethiopia on diversity basis.
The high-ranking government officials calling upon a youth to further strive to maintain peace and the development of the country and a spirit of mutual respect, trust and patriotism toward each other. They stated that such a legacy has to be bolstered for the nation's image and international arena.
Determination, sacrifice, independence doesn't come without cost. They paid their life and blood. Ours is only to pay our sweets and to lift our country, to maintain our pride. This pride cannot be there without economic independence. We can't be an island in the global economic system, but we have to compete and earn our legitimate place in the economic space, in technological, in political and diplomatic activities also. So the young generation needs to believe in unity of the country and also in competence.
Let's come together, the youth particularly. You are responsible for tomorrow's Ethiopia. It is your country. You are the leaders. You are another Menelik. You are another Abanefso, Dinagde. So therefore you are responsible. You have to stand up now. The time has come. Your fathers, your mothers' victory must be once again shining around the world, and that's how you can create a brighter, better future.
Welcome back. We're still staying on the victory of Adwa, and military attaches residing in Addis Ababa say the Battle of Adwa, which ended with an ever-shining victory of Ethiopians in 1896, symbolizes African unity and Pan-Africanism. The Ethiopian army performed the unthinkable by defeating the advancing Italian forces, according to the military attaches, and successfully defended its sovereignty. The Adwa victory, meanwhile, inspired Africans to come together and fight for their liberation from colonial rule. Colonel Rufai Umar, a Nigerian defense attaché, told the Ethiopian news agency that the victory obtained by the United Ethiopians during the Battle of Adwa is a representation of African unity.
Ethiopia is a symbol of African unity, and that's the depiction of the Adwa victory. So that one, all African countries, they will continue to look at Ethiopia as the symbol of African unity, and we hope with the commemoration of Adwa victory, the Africans will continue to unite against all form of colonization. Most of our Africans, they will continue to look at the victory as a symbol of unity and symbol of freedom.
The South African Defense Attaché Colonel Goodman Hawkwan on his part said that the Battle of Adwa happened immediately after the Berlin Conference, which was referred to as the Scramble for Africa. He said that Ethiopia made a firm stance and said, "We are not to be colonized," and defeated the invading Italian forces. Have a listen to this.
And that became a very much motivation for the Africans that we can do. We can do. It became a motivation, and we would recall then thereafter there was then a struggle by Africans throughout the African continent for the liberation from the colonizers.
Well, the viewers, you have been watching Addis News Hour. Now a quick recap of the top story. President Sahle-Work Zewde says the victory of Adwa is a torch bearer of Pan-Africanism.